In the quiet town of Nwagu, where the red earth met the sky and where secrets lived longer than the people who kept them, there lived a man named Madu. To everyone who knew him, he was everything a good father should be: quiet, hardworking, respectful, and deeply devoted to his family. His compound was always neat, his children well-mannered. His wife, Nkiru, spoke of him with pride at the women's meetings. But behind those gentle eyes, behind those calm smiles, behind the way he flinched whenever he heard sirens in the distance, there was something he carried. Something heavy, something dark, something that made him grow silent whenever accidents were mentioned. Something he never spoke about, not even to his wife, not even in his prayers. Madu had 5 beautiful children, 4 boys and 1 girl. There was Obina, the firstborn, strong, ambitious, always talking about building empires. Then came Ekena, the second, sharp-tongued, clever, quick to laugh. Then Chidubem, the third child, the one who changed everything. After him came Adaeze, the only girl, gentle as morning rain, her mother's shadow. And finally the twins, Chukudi and Emeka, loud, playful, inseparable. But one of them stood out: Chidubem, the child Madu loved differently. Not more, but differently. Chidubem was the boy who never raised his voice, the one who ran to hug his father even when his brothers were too busy, the one who sat beside Madu in the evenings and asked, "Papa, are you thinking again?" He had kind eyes, a voice like silk, and a heart that seemed too pure for this world. He grew to become a brilliant young doctor, the pride of Nwagu. Women prayed their daughters would marry him. Men used his name as an example to their sons. Chidubem wasn't just a son. He was Madu's heart, walking in human form. Whenever people asked why he loved that child so much, Madu would pause, look far away, and reply softly, "He reminds me of something from my past." But nobody ever understood what that meant. Not even Nkiru, who had shared his bed for 23 years. She would press him sometimes, gently. "Madu, what is it about that boy? Why do you look at him like you're afraid he'll disappear?" And Madu would only smile and say, "I just want him to live long." Those words, she later realized, were not a prayer. They were a plea. It was a Tuesday evening. The sky had turned that strange orange color it takes just before darkness swallows everything. Madu was sitting outside, watching the compound gate, waiting for Chidubem to return from the hospital. His phone rang, a known number. Something cold crawled down his spine. With trembling hands, he answered. A voice, professional, tired, distant, spoke on the other end. "Is this Mr. Madu, father of Dr. Chidubem Madu?" "Yes, yes, I am." There was a pause that felt like falling. "Sir, I'm calling from St. Benedict Hospital. Your son, Dr. Chidubem Madu, he has been involved in an accident on the expressway." "Accident? Is he hurt? Which hospital is he in? I'm coming now." The voice interrupted, softer this time, sadder. "Sir, I'm very sorry. He didn't make it. He was brought in dead on arrival." The phone nearly slipped from Madu's hand. Time stopped. The world didn't just break, it shattered. Madu's mouth opened, but no sound came out.
His body went limp. The phone fell to the ground, still speaking, but he couldn't hear anymore. All he could hear was a ringing, a loud, endless ringing in his ears. Nkiru came running out, alarmed by the look on his face. "Madu! Madu! What is it?" He could not speak. He just pointed at the phone on the ground. She picked it up, listened, and then her scream tore through the evening like a blade through cloth. "Chidudem!" She collapsed. The neighbors came running, the compound filled with chaos. People were crying, shouting, asking what happened. But Madu just sat there, still, silent, staring at nothing. His hands were shaking, but his face was frozen. Inside him, something whispered, "It has begun."
The funeral was unbearable. Chidubem's body, dressed in white, lay in the casket like he was only sleeping. His face was calm, peaceful, as if death had been gentle with him. But Madu couldn't look at him for long. Every time he tried, his chest would tighten, his throat would close, and he'd have to turn away. The entire town came. Patients he had treated, colleagues, friends, strangers who had only heard of his kindness. They wept. They spoke of what a good man he was. They said, "Why do the good ones go so soon?" But Madu didn't cry. Not a single tear. People whispered about it. They said grief had broken him so deeply he couldn't even weep. But that wasn't it. Madu wasn't crying because he wasn't surprised. He had been waiting for this. For 20 years he had been waiting. As they lowered the casket into the red earth, as the pastor said the final prayers, as Nkiru wailed and fainted into her sister's arms, Madu felt it. A cold wind. It passed through the crowd, through the trees, through him, like fingers brushing against his soul. And then, soft as a breath, he heard it. Balance must begin. He jerked around, heart hammering. But there was no one behind him. Only the grave. Only the silence. Only the truth he had buried coming back to life. 3 months passed. The house was still heavy with grief. Nkiru had grown thin, her eyes always red. The other children tried to move on, but the shadow of Chidubem's absence followed them everywhere. Madu barely spoke anymore. He would sit outside at night, staring at the road as if expecting something. Nkiru begged him to talk to her. "Madu, please, talk to me. We're all in pain, but you're scaring me. You're not yourself." He would only nod and say, "I'm fine." But he wasn't. He was waiting. And then, it happened again. It was a Sunday morning. Adeaze, their only daughter, had gone to church. She was on her way back, driving carefully, humming a hymn. A reckless driver, speeding, drunk, careless, ran a red light. The collision was instant, violent, final. By the time they pulled her from the wreckage, she was gone. When the news reached the house, Nkiru didn't faint this time. She screamed, she tore her wrapper, she beat her chest, she cursed the road, she cursed the driver, she cursed God. The boys stood frozen, eyes wide with horror. Obinna, the eldest, grabbed his father by the shoulders and shook him. "Papa, what is happening? What is happening to this family?" But Madu just stood there, eyes empty, face blank, like a man who had seen this scene before, like a man who knew the script. He whispered, so low only Obinna could hear, "It is not finished yet." Obinna stepped back, disturbed. "What do you mean?" But Madu said no more. When Ikenna died 6 months later, hit by a speeding vehicle that didn't stop, just like his sister, the family didn't just break, it collapsed. Nkiru stopped eating, stopped speaking. She would sit by the window, staring outside, rocking back and forth, whispering her children's names like a chant. Chidubem, Adeaze, Ikenna, Chidubem, Adeaze, Ikenna. The twins, Chukwudi and Emeka, locked themselves in their room. They refused to leave the house. They said the roads felt angry. They said something was hunting them.
Obina tried to hold everything together, but even he was breaking. He would wake up screaming from nightmares. He would check the doors 10 times before sleeping. He started saying prayers his mother had never taught him. And Madu didn't shout, didn't collapse, didn't even cry. He simply sat outside, looked up at the sky, and whispered, "It has started. It has finally started." Neighbors began to whisper, "That family is cursed. Someone must have offended the gods. Maybe it's witchcraft. 3 children all the same way, that's not normal." The pastor came to pray, the herbalist came to cleanse, friends came to console. But nothing helped, because the problem wasn't spiritual warfare. It was debt. A debt written in blood. A debt Madu had run from for 20 years. And now the collector had come. One night, Obina confronted his father. He found him sitting outside, as always, staring at nothing. "Papa." Madu didn't respond. "Papa, I'm talking to you." Still nothing. Obina's voice cracked. "Papa, what did you do?" Madu's head turned slowly. His eyes met his son's, and for the first time, Obina saw it. Guilt. Raw, ancient, suffocating guilt. "What did you do, Papa? Why are we dying? Why are they taking us one by one?" Madu's lips trembled. I didn't mean to... Didn't mean to what?" Silence. Then finally, Madu spoke. "I killed a boy." The words hung in the air like smoke. Obina stepped back, shaking his head. "What?"
20 years ago, I was a delivery driver. I hit a boy, a small boy on the road. He died on the spot. I ran. I never told anyone. I thought it was over. I never did it intentional. I just want to be saved. Tears finally began to fall from Madu's eyes. But it wasn't over. It was never over. Obina stared at his father, horrified, heartbroken, furious. "So we're paying for your sin? Chudubem, adaize, ikena, they died because of you?" Madu covered his face with his hands and wept like a child. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Obina turned and walked away. He didn't speak to his father for weeks. The family broke in tears when Obina told them what their father said. Madu knew he couldn't run anymore. He traveled to a powerful soothsayer in a remote village, a man known to see what others couldn't. Inside his shrine, the old man sat across from him, studying his face for a long time. Then he asked only one question. "Madu, whom did you kill 20 years ago?" Madu's heart stopped. His legs failed him. The soothsayer nodded slowly. "The boy's spirit has been following you, waiting, watching, and now he is balancing the scales." What do I do?" The soothsayer closed his eyes, his weathered hands moving over the cowrie shells spread before him. When he opened them again, his expression was grave. "Madu, do you know what happened after you ran that night?" Madu shook his head, trembling. "Sit and listen carefully." The soothsayer's voice dropped to a whisper, and as he spoke, the room seemed colder. 20 years ago. At night, in the village shrine, 3 days after the accident. A small wooden casket lay open on the red earth floor. Inside was the body of the boy Madu had killed, dressed in white burial clothes, his small face peaceful in death. Around the casket sat the boy's family, his mother, her face swollen from crying, his father, silent and stone-faced, and the village elders in their traditional attire. The boy's father held 3 items in his trembling hands: a fresh palm frond, still green, still alive; a piece of white wrapper cloth, torn from the boy's funeral shroud; and a small cutlass, its blade gleaming in the firelight. The chief priest stood over the casket, chanting in the old language.
The mother wept silently as the father leaned over his son one last time. "My son, you left us too soon. You were taken by a coward who did not even stop, who did not even look back." He placed the palm frond across the boy's chest. "This frond is life, the life that was stolen from you." Then he laid the white wrapper over his hands. "This cloth is justice, the justice we cannot get from the law." Finally, with shaking hands, he placed the cutlass beside the boy's body. "And this blade is the path his children will walk, just as you walked the road that night." The priest raised his staff and struck the ground 3 times. "Spirit of this child, you were sent away without farewell, without justice, without peace. We release you now, not to rest, but to restore balance. The man who took your life has hidden himself. He has built a family. He has children who laugh while your mother weeps. Go to him. Wait for him. Watch him. And when the time is right, take from him what he took from us." The mother collapsed, sobbing. "Not all of them," she begged through her tears. But the father's face was iron. "He took our only child, our only son. Why should he keep all of his?" The priest continued. "Spirit, hear us. Balance must be restored. Life for life, road for road. 3 lives for the one stolen. 3 accidents for the one he caused. And let him know. Let him see it coming. Let him wait. Let him suffer as we have suffered." The elders responded in unison. "Balance must be paid. Balance must be paid. Balance must be paid." They closed the casket. As they did, a cold wind swept through the shrine, though all the windows were shut. The candles flickered, and, somewhere far away, young Madu was holding his newborn 3rd son, Chudubem, and feeling an unexplainable chill run down his spine. The soothsayer opened his eyes. Madu sat frozen, his face drained of all color. They cursed me?" "No, Madu, they didn't curse you." The old man's voice was sad. "They cursed your children. They sent the boy's spirit to collect a debt. 3 lives, 3 accidents, the same death you gave their son." "But why did it take 20 years?" "Because the boy's spirit was told to wait, to let you build your family, to let you love them, to let you know peace so that losing them would hurt even more." Madu's hands covered his face. "And Chudubem? Why Chudubem first?" The soothsayer looked at him with something like pity. "Because he was the most beloved son of yours. The boy you killed was the only child of his family and the most beloved one. And because—" He paused. "Because the spirit saw how much you loved that one. It wanted you to feel what that mother felt, losing the child that was closest to your heart." The truth crashed over Madu like a wave. All these years he thought he had escaped, but he had never escaped. The boy had been there all along, waiting, watching, growing alongside his own children like a shadow. And now the harvest had begun. What do I do?" Madu's voice was barely a whisper. "How do I stop this?" The soothsayer was quiet for a long moment. "Go back to that village. Face the family you wronged. Confess everything. Beg for mercy. Perform the counter rituals. Ask them to call the spirit back. And if they refuse?" The old man's silence was answer enough. "Then death will empty your house completely. The twins, Obina, all of them. The spirit will not stop until the debt is paid in full." Madu stood on shaking legs. He had no choice. He had to face what he had run from 20 years ago. As the sun began to set over the quiet village, Madu finally gathered the courage to return, back to the same place where everything started, back to the road where he destroyed a family 20 years ago. He asked questions. He searched the compounds. He described the boy he had killed. But the villagers only stared at him with confusion. No one recognized the family he spoke of. No one remembered the accident. No one could point him to parents who once mourned an only child. Cold fear gripped his soul. The child he hit. The child he ran from. Could it be that the entire family had died long ago? He searched the village for 2 weeks, moving from one compound to another, describing the boy, begging for information, pleading for forgiveness. Still no answers. Until one old man stopped him on the road. "You've been asking of that boy," he said carefully. "But that child died many years ago. Everyone involved is gone. What exactly do you seek?" Madu broke down. Right there on the dusty path, he confessed everything. The accident, his escape, the years of silence, the deaths of his children, the curse he now carried like a shadow. The old man listened in silence. Then he sighed deeply. "You cannot find the family," he said. "The only person who can help you now is the village soothsayer." He led Madu to the soothsayer's hut, the same man who had witnessed the ritual 20 years earlier. And now the truth he feared most was finally standing in front of him.
Well, do you think they will ever forgive him? Watch out for part 2 and subscribe.